be showing you guys how to make this basic waistline simple top. And the first thing I did here is to cut out the fabric I'm going to be using. So you're going to measure from your shoulder to the length of the tip of the basic top. So I'm using about 24 inches here, or 24.5. So after that, the width I have here is just my bust measurement divided by 4 plus extra like 4 inches. Not that I'm going to use the whole 4 inches, but just to be safe, I made it 4 inches. That's for seam allowance. So after that, the next thing I did is to mark half an inch at the top part here to be the seam allowance I need at the shoulder. And then after that, you're going to go ahead. I marked from here to my chest line, which is 10, and then from there to my under bust, which is 14, to my waist, which is 17.5, and then to the end of the top, which is about 24. So then the next thing you're going to do is just to go ahead on this line that you marked for the shoulder and insert your shoulder measurement divided by 2. So for me, I'm going to use 16 is my shoulder, divided by 2 is 8. I'm marking that here, and then I'm going to also come down here by 1 inch for the shoulder slope. And then after that, you're going to insert your armhole. So for me, my armhole is 9 inches, which is directly down to this line. So guys, after that, now the next thing you're going to do is on this your chest line, you're going to insert your bust measurement divided by 4. So for me, that's about 10.5. I'm going to mark it, and then after that, I'm going to give it a curve from here to there. So I'm going to give it a curve this way for my armhole. And then the next thing you're going to do is to, so guys, I'm going to mark the neckline I'm using here, which is 3 inches. After that, you're going to connect this the shoulder slope to this point, and then I'm going to attach the seam allowance, like mark the seam allowance that I'm going to need for the shoulder, because remember, this is a princess that if I don't add my seam allowance now and go to add it, it will shift all these measurements. So whenever I'm making a princess that, I like to add the shoulder measurements at the top immediately. So that's why I added this half an inch at this top part while I'm cutting it. So after that, you're going to measure down this straight line. For me, that was 9. I'm going to find halfway through that, which is 4.5. I'm going to mark it here, and then come in here by half an inch, because your front armhole is supposed to be deeper than the back, and then connect it all the way to the top in a straight line this way, and then using a curve ruler, join it to this your normal part, like connect it from halfway if you come in here by half an inch, you connect it straight to the point at this top, and then use a curve ruler and connect it to where you marked your bust measurement. So that's how you're going to get the lower curve, not the way I connected it here. So after that, now the next thing we are going to do is to, so guys, after that, the next thing I'm going to do is to divide the nipple to nipple measurement by 2 and add half an inch to it. If you want, you can use that directly, but I figured if I use it directly, most times it shifts the breast point, because you're still going to take away seam allowance to sew it. So I'm going to just add half an inch to it. So my nipple to nipple is 8 inches, divided by 2 is 4, plus half an inch is 4.5. So I'm going to mark 4.5 all the way to the end, from here to that point. And then after that, you're going to connect it in a straight line. I'm also going to mark half an inch on, I'm going to come down here by 1 inch, because I'm going to be connecting my line from down here. So on this my waistline, what I'm going to do now is to share 0.75 on each side. If you want, you can do half an inch on each side if you're more on the smaller side, or you can even do 1 inch on each side if you want a well-defined dart. So it depends on you, what you want to do. So I'm going to just do 0.75 on each side, but at this lower point, you can still stick to the same thing you took away from here, but I'm going to reduce it and do like half an inch down here on each side. So after that, now you're going to connect it together. So I'm going to connect the one on this side together. Sorry, make sure you try to put everything in line, and then connect this one together. And then after that, from this point now, you're going to give it connect it like this to this point, and then connect this one also to this point. So guys, after that, I'm going to measure around this curved line to where my bust is. So this curved armhole line that I have here, I'm going to just measure it and see what I have. So I have 10 inches here. Half of 10 inches is going to be 5 inches, which is somewhere here on this line. So half of this curve is somewhere here, and then from there I'm going to connect it to this point here. Connect it to the under bust line, which is this one. I'm going to connect it directly here. Guys, I already have a video on how to make a princess dart top if you want to do that, so you can go directly and use a princess dart tutorial to do that. But this is just a basic princess dart, not the princess dart bustier. If you want, you can, I have a video on that, you can use that method too. So after that, now I'm going to mark half an inch on both sides of this center line that I have here. You can like I said before, you can, if you're more on the bustier side, you can do 0.75. So I think I'm going to do 0.75 on each side, because so I've marked that here. And then what you're going to do now is you're going to go up 1 inch before this breast point line. On this slanted line, 1 inch before that, you're going to stop, and then you're going to connect your dart. So I'm going to connect it this way on this side, and then bring the other side also, connecting it to this line. And just like that, I've connected both lines to this point. So you're going to go back in and make sure that you give it a curve at this nipple point, because this is exactly where your nipple is supposed to be. So give it a curve so it's not that sharp. And then on the lower line, you're going to extend it by whatever you used here. If you used 1 inch, half an inch, then you're going to extend the lower line by 1 inch. If you use 0.75, 0.75, you're going to extend the lower line by 0.75. Sorry, you're going to extend the lower line by 1.5, because 0.75 plus 0.75 will give you 1.5. So I'm going to extend my lower line now by 1.5, which is somewhere here. Extend it straight across, and then I'm going to add back that 1.5 here, and then this is now going to be my new armhole for this part here. So this is now my new armhole. After that, now we are going to just insert all our measurements. So the next thing you're going to do is your bust measurement divided by 4, which was 10.5. I've marked that here, and then I added back this 1.5 that we took away here. And then after that, you need 2 inches for your seam allowance, 1 inch for the side seam allowance, and 1 inch to join, because once you cut out this part here, you need 1 inch on both sides to bring it back together. So that's 2 inches that we need. So I'm going to add back that 2 inches here. And then after that, the next thing you're going to do is the same thing. Come down to your waist, and then remember, this is our under bust, this is our waist. So on your waist, you're going to divide. So you're going to divide your waist by 4. So we're working with about 8.5 here. And then you're going to take whatever you have here, which is 1.5, add it back. And then you're going to put 2 inches of seam allowance. And then the same thing for the this lower part here. I'm going to just use exactly the same measurement I used down here for this part, because this lower line doesn't count, because you will see how we are going to change it to the basic waistline. So now that we've marked everything, we are going to go ahead now and cut this part out. So guys, this is it here. So but remember to connect your lines, right? Remember to connect from your waist to, after you've inserted your measurement, you're going to connect from the bust to the waist, and then from here to here. Although this lower line doesn't count, like I said before. Now I'm also going to cut that part out. So guys, now it's time to change the waistline. So to change your waistline, what you're going to do is, it depends on you. Some people like to go directly to the waist to connect their own, or you can do halfway through, like half inch, after like half an inch from your waist, come down half an inch from your waist, and then you're going to connect it. So I'm going to do half an inch from the waist, and then I'm going to just connect this way. So guys, remember we came down half an inch from this waistline now. So what we're going to do is to connect it to the point where we want it to be. So we're going to connect this way. My ruler is not long enough, but just connect it just this way and get the angle that you need. So you see, I've connected mine. So now try to keep this. So guys, you see now I've cut this part out. I'm going to remove it. So you see, this is what our top looks like. So now all I have to do is just to go ahead and let me finish cutting up this part. So now we are going to, remember we have our seam allowance at the shoulder already. So you're going to just cut from after your seam allowance. We added half an inch for the shoulder, and then depending on what you want your neckline to be, I think I'm going to just do 3 inches neckline for now, and then connect it just like that to get my basic neckline. And then I'm going to cut that out. If you watch my tutorial on princess dart, guys, then this is really easy. Just draw out your basic princess dart top, like you're trying to cut a basic princess dart top, and then from the waistline connect it to where the point is, like the length you want. You can do extra 5 inches from your waist. You can do extra depending on you. Just measure from your waist to the end, to the crotch area, the length you want the V part to be. So that's basically the extra changes that will be made to this top. So after that, now the next thing I'm going to, so guys, the next thing I'm going to do is to cut the back of my top. So this is what I'm using to cut the back, exactly like I did for the front. My bust measurement plus divided by 4 plus extra 4 inches. That's the width of the fabric. And then the shoulder to the waist is just my the next thing you're going to do here is just to measure from your shoulder to your waist. So whatever it is, you add 1 inch to it, because you need half an inch for the shoulder and half an inch for the bottom, because remember you're going to be turning this with a lining. So that's how you're going to do it. So I'm going to just go ahead and mark my about 1.5 for my zip allowance, and then we'll insert our measurements. So guys, now I'm going to draw in the back panel, but I'm just going to draw it like a basic back panel. I'm not going to be doing a princess dart for the back, so you can just do princess dart, or you can just do this one. So guys, first I marked half an inch at the top here, and then the next thing I'm going to do is to come down here by 1 inch for the shoulder slope, insert my armhole, which is going to be 9 inches down here at this point, and then I'm going to connect it. So guys, after that you're going to insert your 3 inches neckline again, connect your shoulder slope, and then give it the half an inch you need to join the shoulder. Mark that in also, and then after that I'm going to come down here by 1 inch for the back neckline. So I'm going to just connect that this way. And guys, as you can see, I also marked in 1.5 for my zipper allowance. So after that, now the next thing you're going to do for the back is just insert your bust measurement divided by 4. So I'm going to mark that here is 10.5, and then I'm going to add extra 1 inch of seam allowance, because like I said, I'm not making it princess dart, I'm just making it a normal dart is what I'm using here, normal waist dart. So I'm going to just add 1 inch to it here, and then the next thing you're going to do is to come down to your waist, which is here. I'm going to just come down here, divide your bust point by 2, and then you're going to, so guys, I'm going to mark that here, and then after that I'm going to take this up, this 4.5, which is your nipple to nipple divided by 2 plus extra half an inch, and then my dart is going to go up to my chest line, which is this line here. And then after that you're going to just mark half an inch on this side, half an inch on this side, and then you're going to connect it. So I'm using a basic dart here, and then connect this side too. So that's basically my back dart here. After that I'm going to just go ahead and insert my waist measurement divided by 4, and then I'm going to add 2 inches to it, 1 inch of darting and 1 inch of seam allowance. And then after that you're going to connect the waist to the bust to the waist, and then just like that give it a curve for the um, for this armhole, and then you just go ahead and cut out your bodice. So just like that, I'm going to cut from here out, and then I'm going to just cut from here. Separate this back zipper. So guys, this is the back panel here. I've finished it. All I have to do now is just to trace out lining exactly like this, and then I'm going to just go ahead and pick my dart for the back. What I did here is just to cut out lining for each of the piece, and what I did next is to join it, the two sides to the center of the front panel, and then after that I just went ahead and joined the bottom just so I can get this lower part first. After joining it, I ironed it. That's join it to the lining and ironed it out. After that, guys, you can also pad this if you want it a little bit strong, but I'm okay with the way it is now. I did the same thing for the back. I picked my dart separately for the lining, picked the dart separately for the top, and then I joined it at the lower part here. After that, I went ahead to join it to this shoulder. So you see, I join it shoulder to shoulder, and then lining to lining. So lining to lining, this to this. So the same thing is what I'm going to do on this other side. As you can see, I just joined it from at the bottom alone. So now I'm going to take it the way it is and join it, the lining to the lining, and then this fabric to this fabric. So join this to this, and then the lining to the lining. After that, I'm going to flip it again from the inside, pin it down so that I can be able to join the neckline, both the lining and everything, so that I can flip it out and iron it. Then I'll put in my sleeve. It's done, and this is the back here. I put a zip in it right now, but guys, I don't think a zip would work, except it's a zip that separates and then you can just put it like a jacket zip, because I went to try this out now and I noticed that it's difficult to pass this lower part through my bust, because remember this lower part here is smaller because it's your waist, right? But remember, your waist measurement cannot pass through your bust if you're wearing it from the top, and you can't wear it from the bottom part, right? So you have to either bring down your neckline in such a way that your head can fit in, and then you sew it down, like bring down the neckline a little bit more, and then you sew it down like 1 inch, and then put a zip facing down. That's the way they normally do a crop top that is fitted at the waist. If you're making a crop top that is fitted at the waist like this, that has a dart, not like a boxy one, you can put the zip facing up because the lower part is still open enough. But if you're making anything that has this type of dart and is fitted at the waist, you always have to make your zip face down. But in the process of making your zip to face down, you have to open up the neck so that your head can pass through it. Don't make a small neck like this and then make the zip to face down. You can't do that, because remember, you still have to pass your head through it, and if the zip is facing down, that means you've already sewn close the head part, right? because you need to, when you're sewing a zip, you need to close up some part of it so that you can put the zip. So let's say this is at the top now with this small opening, my head cannot pass, and it's at the bottom now and the waist is a smaller opening, my bust cannot pass. So to make this whole thing better, open up your head part more, right? Open up your head part more and then turn around this zip and take this part, make your zip in such a way that you zip it facing downwards, because right now it's facing up. But I'm going to manage it just to show you guys what the top looks like. But as I tried it out, I decided to change the pattern of the back of this top. Right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just bring down the back a little bit more and then turn the back to a crisscross, like make a loop, remove the zip entirely, and then make a loop for a rope at the back. So that's what I'm going to change the back to. I think it will look nice too. So but for the purpose of this video, I've explained to you guys how you're going to manage the zip so that you can be able to wear it, but I'm still going to change mine. So that's basically it here. Look at the front here. It looks really nice, and you see how neat the neckline is after I used lining to turn it over, and then I added my sleeve. So thank you guys so much for watching, and please like, share and subscribe. Bye.